Okay, so going to run through some of the options on the menus for how to set up the system. So the first thing is your home screen, and your home screen you've got your apps that you can run through, and depending on what you've configured, depending on what you will see on your apps. But down here on the bottom right there is a settings button. Press that, and then that gives you a quick change between theme for night and light. I prefer the dark theme, obviously. It's just not so bright. And the home layout, you can either choose to have tiles, which would be the big buttons, or all these little ones. But quite honestly, I think that the tiles is a much better one. So home screen will say, do you want app tiles or do you want the app icons? You can edit the layout by adding different bits of your options, and what that does, it gives you part of the sliding. You can slide the screen. I've got here the economy mode, compass, and my slope assist as 3 additional tiles to the ones that you normally get, which is your navigation, phone, and media. Again, that's up to you what you like the most. Audio is probably best, and this controls your treble, bass, and subwoofer. This is with the Meridian 10 speaker system. Obviously that will be different depending on who you are. Setting your fade options is quite simple. Just drag where you want it, front, rear, or center is quite nice. Then how you want your treble, bass, and subwoofer working. All is where it starts getting quite interesting. Let's talk about connectivity. I've got your Bluetooth connected to both my own phone and my wife's phones, and because I'm next to my house, I can connect to my Wi-Fi at home. If you have the option of 2 SIMs into the card, you'll have details about your SIM details in there. Because we're not in the United Kingdom, we don't have that SIM connectivity. Setting up your vehicle is where it starts getting interesting. If you have driver assistance, you've got collision avoidance, and this I've come on. It's come on already a number of times when I've been coming close to a wall and a tight turn. We get a front collision warning coming out on your dashboard, and it has an emergency brake which comes on automatically, which is quite disconcerting if you're not waiting for it. And also rear traffic warning if somebody at the back is going to hit you, and will also light up your brake lights and flashes if the person behind you is about to hit you. And also, if you've got lane keep assist as one of your driver option packs, that provides a steering input to make sure that you go and stay straight. I've got adaptive cruise control, and you can set your distance, how far you want to be from the car in front in this process, and adaptive speed limiter, which depends on the speed limit that you're going. You can set the system to off, not warn you that you've gone over the limit, to warn you when you're at the limit, +5 or +10 kilometers. It also looks at the condition of your driver and make sure that if there's a fatigue warning, if you haven't been doing anything, it will sound an alarm to get you going and prompt you to find a rest area. If you're going on low speeds, do you want the 360 camera to work or not? And it comes on only at low speeds. Safety and security, again, audible lock. When you lock the car, do you want that? Do you want 2-stage locking, i.e. you have to press the button twice to open all the doors, or do you want it just on one? And also the automatic locking of all doors, and you can set at what limit do you want the doors to close for you. Exterior lights, do you want automatic high beam assist, which is probably a yes. But home lights, how much the lights stay on after you've switched the car off, you can also set that to whatever time limit you want. If you are driving in the opposite side to what you normally are, you have the option, if you've got matrix LED lights, to change on what side of the road you're driving, and there's no need to adjust the headlights accordingly. Windows, whether you can ask for them to be opened or closed with the remote control of your fob, of your key, to all open. If you hold down the close button, it will close all the windows, and similarly if you press the open button on the key fob, it will all the windows come down. Useful when you're getting close to the car and it's been nice and hot and you want to cool it down. You have the option to have a mirror dip when you reverse, and I've set this, being a short person, I don't have side steps installed in the cars, so when you switch the car off or you open the door, the car will set itself down to access height. Again, you've got rain sensing wipers to automatically come on when it's raining, and in the snow to make sure it's held at the top. Brake hold is quite good in terms of how the electronic brake comes into play when you've pressed the buttons. Cabin lighting, at the moment we've got blue lighting set up on the car, but we can also change that to any number of colors. I'm going to try the red now. And you can also choose the intensity of the lights. So that's full light, 3/4, half, and 1/4 intensity. So all depends what you choose. So this is the green, a yellow, an orange, purple, the blue, dark blue, light blue. So this teal, green, teal, gold, and white. I'm quite fond of the dark blue at the moment, so I'm going to keep it on there. Back to all the controls. So that's the cabin lighting, whether you want it in kilometers an hour, miles per hour, how you want your tire pressure, we want your temperature. Obviously being in Europe, that's what I like. We won't put that one on, which is the VIN of the vehicle. Voice settings, quite a very good voice recognition system without requiring training. How bright do you want your screen? Again, that's useful for night. Master pin for valet mode, date and time, legal information, all that nonsense. You can change your language to whatever system language you want, and keyboards, and also whether you want the keys to click like you would on a normal thing. Climate, do you want what type of airflow do you like? You like it soft and quiet, balanced, or powerful and fast? I quite like the balance. It works quite well. Gibraltar's currently at about 26, 27 Celsius, and that's working and keeping up quite well with the temperature in blazing sunshine. Favorite button is this button over here on the screen. This top button here, and you can program that to do any number of things. So I've got a short press, which is my next source for my media. So if I want to change from the digital audio to my USB to whatever media device that I've got, it's a short press. But if it's a long press, I can cancel the guidance on my sat nav, and that works pretty well. That we talked about the thing, and the low traction control. Do you want that to pop up for low traction launchers? On media, again, check your what do you want to come out. So if you want traffic announcements coming up, you can tick those. Do you want a region lock, find alternative frequencies, and how do you want them by frequency or name? Similarly for digital audio, do you want traffic, do you want other? Digital audio to FM linking, so we can put both sources where there's a weak reception from digital audio, which is pretty cool. And this is your media devices on USB devices. Now, if we show you down here, I've got my media linked up onto a USB port, and all my media comes through there. Very clever. It does all the album tracks and everything. Navigation, you have very lots of sources, whether you want notifications, what map do you want to see, satellite map view. Now that will take up quite a bit of data bandwidth, as that gets downloaded from the Wi-Fi as you go along. Do you want the traffic displayed? Yeah. Do you want your favorites displayed? And auto sim, you can take those on and off. And what points of interest do you want displayed on the map? So for example, I've got cash machine, convenience stores, hospitals, hotels and motels, lay-by with services, leisure activities, parkings, petrol stations, but you can switch those on and off to keep your map as tidy as you want. And similarly for route guidance, you can got dynamic routing where the system will work out if there are traffic jams, etc. I want the fastest route, and in terms of route preferences, I don't think I've got anything ticked on here because I'll go for anything that goes there. But you can put all of those, and also it learns your commute route quite often, and you can start those by having that, and it will recognize your frequent visits and knows what it has to do. And using smart voice guidance will keep it very quiet in terms of the sat nav not nagging you as to where you need to go, and will only give you major directions where you haven't been before. But if you know it quite well, it'll keep quite quiet. Interesting, as you go along, it will come up with things that you want in terms of a cafe, a fuel, restaurants, and that sort of stuff. On the driver display for your sat nav, do you want a picture of the junction? That's quite well, and it will show on the main screen. I've got lane assistance on the car, and it will give you a picture of that and show it on the main screen. It can abstract your route, find the next waypoint, rerouting, satellite map view. I've got that switched off because I really don't want to eat up all my data. But the mirror info panel is quite good, and we'll look at how we can set up the main dashboard now in terms of setting it up properly. And voice, I want it nice and quiet as much as possible, natural guidance. I don't want the beep to interrupt me and tell me if it is rerouting me for some other direction. Phone is as it is on my phone in terms of my contacts and everything else. I don't want any of that. And messaging as well gives me a tone, and it will automatically send a reject call if I don't accept it with any number of templates, and there's all sorts of different things that you can put on as your template. So that's the main screen, as it were. If we come over to the main display here, we can change quite a number of things, and that's done through the main menu button here. And we can change how the screen looks. So if we look at the display, we can change the layout. For the layout, there's all sorts of options. So let's go for the traditional 2-dial, which is probably how you're going to get given that through the dealership. Now, once you've done that, you can choose what goes in the middle panel. And you can choose driver assistance, like lane assist. You can put the map, or you can put the media that you're playing into that process. I quite like the map on that. But having played with this for a bit of time, I do like is the one dial. But we can look at the full map, how that would look. And that shows you the entire map. Now this is in dark mode, obviously, because it's nighttime, but you can get a full view of your map. You still get data like your speeds, parking information, your fuel at the bottom, and your range and temperature on the right. But let's go back to the 1-dial, and the 1-dial gives you two options in terms of what you put on the left panel, and I'm going to put on my left panel my media. But you could quite as easily put a clock or anything else. On the right panel, you can also choose what you want. I'm going to put the map on there. The clock looks quite naff, actually. I don't particularly like the clock that they put is rather retro and unsophisticated. So I'm going to keep the map there, so I don't have to look at the main screen in order to do that. I think that works quite well in that process. So that's it. That's a general rundown of how you can set up your computer, your Defender, with all the various options on the menu, etc.